Bobcat Nation, we're so proud to have played for Montana State.
And wouldn't be where we are today without this program.
Now it's our turn to give back. Bobcat Collective is making a real difference for current and future athletes.
Montana State gave us a foundation to pursue our NFL dreams.
Join us in building something special because when we invest in our athletes, we invest in the future of Bobcat football. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Join the collective today. Go Cats.
Thanks for breakdown, SkySportsMT.com. JP Flynn chiming in now. First non-late night one we're doing. So thanks for doing this, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
So this just hit the interwebs. This has nothing to do with Montana State or the FCS playoffs, but it's the least surprising news ever to me. Brendan Marion, the head coach at Sac State, just took the offensive coordinator job at Colorado. This is the least surprising thing ever. I just can't believe that you could just get away with lying relentlessly for just the entire time he's the head coach at Sac State and then just bounces the day after signing day. It's just so predictable.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, and this is like the thing with the current state of college football that is so upsetting because kids get, thrown under the bus. They get called disloyal. They get called all these different things. And the coach just does it like on the drop of a hat, which is super disappointing to see. I listened to Brendan Marion speak at a clinic in Vegas one time. Talked with some coaches who coached with him at Texas and never heard a good thing. Didn't like what I saw when I heard him speak. I mean, I guess you just keep riding that win over Howard or at Howard for years and years and years, and good things continue to happen, I guess. So
yeah, you're right though. It's just the part that makes you feel icky about college football, man. It's so weird, man.
yeah,
I mean, he brings in 70-something transfers. They basically tell these guys they're going FBS. They're not going FBS. Or if
there's no way.
If they are, they're not going to be in a conference. They're going to be playing on the road like 8 times in 12 games. And now all these guys are just sitting there like, huh. So I moved to California and I don't have a head coach. Like I just can see the exodus coming, right? Like these dudes are all out. They're going to have 50 transfers in the next 2 weeks, I bet.
Oh, I know. And I wonder what Presley's going to do.
Right? Like, how bad does he feel? He decommits multiple times that he thinks he finds his right fit, and then the dude who talked him into it is just out the day after you sign. What a terrible feeling.
Yeah, what a rough situation to be in. In general, I feel bad for the boys at Sac State, man.
Man, it ain't any good. But I think they learned their lesson because they talked all this smack, and then they started out by getting whipped by South Dakota State, and then they just got whipped by all the good teams they played all throughout the year, and it kind of just ended with just how it was supposed to, with them not making the playoffs. So
yeah, no surprise there.
yeah, no surprise. All right, so it's been a couple weeks since we talked. What'd you think of the Brawl in Missoula? What a football game that we watched.
That game was awesome. It was just like from a football standpoint, never mind which side of the rivalry you're on. That was just a fun game to watch. And to be honest, like a couple plays go a different way and the Grizz could have won, or a couple plays go a different way and the Cats could have won by 28. Like that was what kind of kept the game interesting throughout. Like I listened to Talking Schmidt yesterday, and he's like, well, if the pick six doesn't happen and the Cats fumble and then they're right there to recover, and it's kind of could go the other way too. Like if the Cats get that big, they get Wortham to fumble right out of half on the kickoff, they get that ball on the 10-yard line, that game could have tumbled downhill in a hurry, but it just didn't. It was like the football guys were like, no, this is going to be a football game. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome. We were over in Missoula for it. We were staying in a place right there on 6th Street. So we were right by the vibes the whole time.
Nice.
It was just went to the Mo Club to start the day off. I think I had 2 double spicy bacon cheeseburgers before 10:30 in the morning. Just a great day. Just a great day.
Oh, that's awesome. How was it in the stands? Was it cordial or was it vitriol? What was it like?
Oh, no. I don't go into the stadium.
Okay. Yeah, I know
No.
you told that last time about your last experience and said, no, not doing that again.
No, I don't go into the stadium. We were just in the rest of the family went to the game. Not me. I watched it from the Airbnb. They had a real good setup. It was a nice place to watch the game, and yeah. So and from my stands, the vibe was awesome. Yeah, it's very cordial. The place was great.
Shine Beer Sanctuary is leading the charge when it comes to promoting beer culture in Montana. Located at the corner of Church and Main and downtown Bozeman, the locally owned and operated tap house and bottle shop has the best beer selection in the Treasure State. The bar has 32 rotating beers on tap with everything from Duvel to local ciders, gluten-free beers, and non-alcoholic options. The bottle shop has more than 400 beer offerings from all over the world, and Shine offers Cicerone-trained beer guides. Come enjoy beer heaven at Shine Beer Sanctuary.
Valley's Restoration, your view is our view, and what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full 5 valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community, our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here, and we love it here.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
That's good. That's good. I thought that there was a couple plays in the game too that maybe aren't getting as many of the headlines, but I thought that Colson Coons hit on Wortham on like the second Bobcat kickoff. That was an impactful play because first of all it messed Wortham up. He sat out for 2 series because he was trying to catch his breath, but also that was like the first of many answers by Montana State, right? Because the first drive he kind of stalls out, and the Grizz get those 2 sacks, and they like rip Lamson's head off on both of them. And it was kind of like high-low cheap shots even. And you're thinking, oh man, okay, welcome to the rivalry. How are they going to respond? But then they responded so well with the touchdown drive, and then for Kuhn to have that hit, that just set the tone so much. And it was like the Cats were like, all right, we're here to play.
Yeah, the game. That game's always like a different level of physicality, different level of chirping going on between the players. It's just like I said, and I've said in weeks before, miss me with all of the with everything saying any other rivalry is better because it's not. Like that game it's the best, which makes it so much fun. And so, I mean, I just wish you could put it into words. Like there just isn't a way to put it into words. It's so freaking awesome, so much fun. Even now watching it, it's still just the greatest rivalry there is. And I think Kuhn did, that play was a big one. I just kind of felt like special teams, there wasn't any minus the blocked field goal. There wasn't really anything that like a play that was made to win you the game, but there was just a lot of plays that brought the momentum back to one side or the other. Like even the big return by the Grizz, like there was just a few of those throughout the game where it's like you felt like things might start leaning one way. And then all of a sudden there's this special teams, whether it was a big hit, a nice return, whatever, that just kind of shifted things back to medium, back to the, that center line to kind of get things back on track for whoever that play happened with.
Yeah, and that was the whole key, right? Is the ability to respond every time, right? Because the Grizz had that dominant drive right out of halftime. It was like a 9-minute drive, but then you get the pick six, and you're back on top, and then all the other things that happen with the field goal block and all that stuff. I mean, I just thought the Cats did such a great job of responding each time out. And Vegan said that. He said that was the whole key of the game is every time there was a chance for it to unravel, we didn't unravel. We, in fact, threw a haymaker, and we landed every single one of them. So pretty darn cool for them. And great, what a feather in the cap for him, right? Like that was like one of the only checks missing on the old resume. And Now he's got it. He's got to win in Missoula.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because like I went and saw one of the kids I used to coach Friday night before the game since we were in Missoula. So I drove over to the hotel and was talking with Schlepp, and he just kind of asked, he's like, "Do you have any advice?" And I was like, "You just have to be prepared for shit to not go your way in this game. Like it's just not going to. Like the entire. I know that there's been some kind of lopsided victories here as of late, but that's not typical. I was like, and you got two big dogs playing right now, the 2 and 3 seed for the Big Sky Championship, hotel, or playoff seeding. Everything's on the line here. I'm like, just be prepared for shit to not go your way and just continue to play the next play. Like, and I know that sounds very cliche. I'm like, but when things go wrong and one guy, things like, and they don't go your way, and when one guy starts falling, next thing you know, that becomes a cancer, and now the whole sweater is becoming unraveled. Like the whole thing is falling apart. I'm like, you have to be able to keep that huddle, whether it's you, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the offensive line, has to be able to keep that thing with a next play mentality and realize you're not going to win the game in one play. You have to consistently, like you said, throw a punch, throw a punch, throw a punch, haymaker opportunity. The window opens up to drop the blow. You drop the blow, but you're never going to win the game in one play in that game. So just continue to throw a jab, throw a jab, throw a jab, throw a jab over and over and over again. And you land enough, eventually you're going to win this football game. And I think that, like you said earlier, like that was the reason why the Cats were able to sustain that win was they were just the last one to throw the punch. They had the ball last. They're able to go on that 7-minute drive, wind the clock out. They're just able to stick a jab, stick a jab, stick a jab. It's 4th and 1. You see your window, throw your haymaker, stick a jab, stick a jab, stick a jab. Hand the ball to Adam Jones, on Bash Reed back to the boundary, first down. There's your haymaker, game over.
It had to feel so good too for Vegan and Pete Sturbeck and Julius Davis because they ran that 4th and 1 play. It's like the same play that they've run a couple different times and come up, just inches short, right? They just get South Dakota State against North Dakota State, but then they get it, and Adam Jones gets them over the top, and they convert it, and then the 3rd and 5 too, where Lamson dove for the first down. That was also, I thought that was probably like the play of the game because that's what really sealed it for them. So that last drive, though, I mean, that just has to feel so vindicating for Brent Vegan and must just be so brutally painful for Bobby Howe because that's exactly how Houck wants to win the game, and he loses it like exactly like that with his defense unable to get off the field. But man, Vegan said it. He said, "Hey, I told the guys we're not giving the ball back," and then they executed it. To me, anybody that's saying, "Well, this bounce could have gone that way, this bounce could have gone that way," to me, it's none of that even matters. It's all about if the Grizz defense can get out the field, they have a chance, and they couldn't, and that's a complete testament to the Cats because the Cats kicked their ass up front, both sides all day long.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in running the football. And I texted you after the game and said I actually would have liked to see them run the ball more. They were having a ton of success on the ground. And you were like, bro, what the hell? They ran the ball 42 times.
Right.
And I was like, that number's somewhat jaded though.
Yeah, I thought
Because
about this more because your explanation was good, so keep going because you're right on this.
yeah, because they got sacked 4 times. So now it takes them down to 38 attempts. And I would like to go through and see how many times Lamson kept the ball, whether it was on some sort of boot, whether it was on some, just drop back scramble, escape the pocket, whatever. Because I would like to think there was probably, another 5 or 6 times in there. I mean, the touchdown was a boot play, that, he escapes the pocket, doesn't see what he likes, so he just takes off and runs, and gains, however many yards and scores the touchdown there at the end of the game. And the amount of times where he just scrambled out of the pocket and gained another 4 or 5 yards, I would think, that's probably taken away 10 attempts. So that's putting their attempts over like, right around that 30 mark. And I just believe with how much success that they were having up front running the ball, even like they had times when they're, trying to dial up a shot on 2nd and short, which to me makes sense. Like you take that's the time to take your shot. But they're taking sacks. They're taking, there's times when it's like, you know what? We ran the ball to get here. Let's just continue to run the football, continue to run the ball. And with as much as the Grizz pressure, I believe that's how you create explosives. Whether it doesn't have to be through the air to create explosives, especially with the way that the Cats have run the ball all year long, how we've run the ball in years past. let them bring six guys on 2nd and 3 and get one guy out of a gap, and the next thing you know, first down yard or a first down run for 3 yards turns into an explosive of 15 plus, maybe break it for a touchdown. Who knows? I just would have liked to see them stick to that run game a little bit more, especially as November's coming and you're playing in Montana for the next 3 weeks if you continue to win. So you're going to have to do it on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. How about Dane Steele in that game? How about Dane
Yeah,
Steele just
dude.
period, man? One of my photographers and I were laughing because, you know, Ryan King transfers in, he's former Georgia Tech guy. Chris Long transfers in, former Rutgers guy. These guys are from the East Coast. Like, they're fast. They were four-star recruits, whatever. It must have just been so funny when they walked in and they're like, oh, all we got to do is beat out these guys. Like, we got to beat out Dane Steele and Taco Dollar. Oh, this is in the bag. And then you're like, oh, shit. We can't beat these guys out. These guys are
Yeah.
like the dopest receivers in the league, and they're just a couple tiny white guys from Montana and Wyoming. It's awesome, but no, I mean Dane Steele is such a baller, man. What a pleasant surprise he's been this year.
Yeah, he has been a great surprise. And it's funny when I know Coach Mix pretty well, and just based on who he recruits and how he talks, I think he'd rather have a route runner than a vertical threat.
Right.
If you can do both, great. I don't think he's going to take that, but I think he likes the twitch more than the speed.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. I was texting, some family about this because, like, indirectly, I'm related to the Holmquist family.
Oh,
Um,
right. Yeah, yeah.
and Drew is a highly touted recruit out of Montana State,
Yeah.
or out of Capital, and their family's just like these massive Grizz fans, and so I always kind of give Coach Almquist from Capital a lot of grief and saying like, when's Drew going to commit? All that stuff. I'm like, he can go there, play with Dalkey, Dane Steele. We can have the greatest receiving core. You know, like the old saying is like the best receiving core per pound, or like I'm like, we'll have the best receiving core per square inch of average height,
Right.
and we'll be awesome, man. He just needs to commit to the Cats, and so yeah, it's just funny to watch those two dudes run around and have the success that they have. And Dane's up and coming. He's gonna be great for years to come. So
Well, speaking of Dalkey, he signed earlier this week. I know that you coached him there at Gallatin for the last, during his whole career. I heard he's enrolling early too, so I think that's going to give him an accelerated timeline. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he plays right away.
I mean, I'm obviously a little biased. I think he will.
I mean, he's
Just because
nasty.
that's
You don't even have to be biased about it. He's as good as they get coming out of high school in Montana.
Yeah, he's pretty good, man. And the thing that always kind of impressed me about Carter is like he may be small, but he packs a punch. Like you watch kids in past who are kind of comparable to Carter, like Gabe Sulcer, um, Paco is a good one.
Tanner
All these
Burdick.
guys,
Yep.
yeah, guys who are just, smaller build from Montana. They're not going to be like extremely highly touted recruits. And the one thing that is different that he has is like his physicality is insane. Like you watch him play defense and the amount, like all of a sudden you blink, he hits a dude, and this dude just buckles to his knees, and the kid's 6 inches taller than he is and has a 25 pounds on him. You're just like, what is going on? And then you top that with his ability to spin kids around, in the passing game, his ability to break tackles in the run game. I mean, I have no idea what they're going to do with him. I haven't really talked with the guys. I know Mix loves him. He always calls him a psycho, which is kind of a fair word to describe him as. So yeah, I think he is enrolling early. He should be there for spring ball this year. A super intuitive, high football IQ. I think I think he's got a good shot to play early. I'm never going to guarantee anything, but I think he's got a chance.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more
He's
champions.
got a chance.
Well, and just talking to him, I've only talked to him probably half a dozen times, but he also has that elevated maturity. Like the transition to college won't be as hard for him, just from like a personal perspective, because I think he's got the drive. Like all that stuff won't be shocking to him, right? Like he already knows how to work hard and be a D1 football player. Like that's not going to be as big of a jump for him as it is for some guys, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. He's just like any other high school kid. He's got some growing to do still.
Totally.
He like you said, he's got some maturing to do. Um, but I think he'll be fine. And I think he will do big things over there. So I'm excited to see how it all shakes out for him.
Yeah. Last thing about last time, and then I'll ask you about the playoffs now. But what do you think of Lamson? I mean, what a cool customer. That's got to be one of I mean, that's a storied Cat Grizz performance. It goes right up there with Travis Lulay in 2002 and Denarius McGee in 2010. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm super juiced about Lamson. I hadn't, I think you and I've talked about it before. Like I sing his praises all the time. I think that the way that it just seems to me like he commands the offense in general, and the way that kids listen really seems to like be a testament to who he is as a person. Because you don't just show up into a locker room in the middle of summer. Because I mean, he was in Bozeman. I mean, I know he worked at Riverside, and he was always like, I saw him there. He was in Bozeman, but he couldn't work out with the team. He couldn't join the team until the summer. So I mean, like he did some some crazy things, and the fact that he's earned that level of respect in that short period of time shows what kind of leader, what kind of worker, and who he is as a person to me. And so I'm super impressed with his, much more than his level of play. Yes, was his level of play in that game awesome? Sure, it was. I was super juiced about it as a fan. It's fun to watch, but you know, thinking to myself that we have much bigger goals. Like we have new standards at Montana State. Like our standards aren't beating the Grizz anymore. Like that's come to be expected. You know, and so we're at the point now where we're expecting to compete for national titles, and with who we got back there, calling the shots and running the huddle, I think we got a real good chance to do it this year.
So, I mean, what are the things that you think Montana State should carry into the playoffs that can help them make a run all the way back to the national championship game and to Nashville?
Ride the line, baby. Like that's, I think that our offensive line has really gotten better each week. Early it was pretty shaky. They got Burt back from broken hand early on, which was big time. But every single week, the one thing I love to see is they just continue to progress and get better. There's a lot of starts between that group. And they just needed a couple guys to really step into their own. And at the same time, like you and I talked about this after the South Dakota State game was, just guys getting a feel for who they are and then and what positions they were going to play. They were shuffled around quite a bit early on. And now each one's kind of settled in and owned his role and his position and are really playing at a high level, I think, right now, especially for FCS ball, especially with how watered down FCS ball is right now. Um, I would like I said, I'd like to see them really rely on running the football. You've got horses in the backfield between Julius Davis, and Adam Jones. You can Lanson's not afraid to run the football, so you can do all the +1 QB run that you want. Um, continue to ride that wave. You got 3 games left here, 4 games left here. Don't stop running the football. I'd like to actually see us do uh, more ball, more QB run game. I mean, Lansing seems to have a pretty good feel for that power read stuff, um, and seems to really do a pretty good job of lowering the shoulder and getting his pads down low and being tough to tackle. So I'd like to see us do some more of that, especially with the ability to get the ball to Adam Jones on the edge, Taco Dowler out on the edge. Uh, as a secondary option, that's not a bad choice either. But I think that's one thing that needs to be a top priority. It's like I said, you're not going to win the game in one play. So just continue to throw jabs throughout the game and ride that offensive line and ride those horses you got in the backfield. Second thing that I think that they really need to do is linebacker play has to increase. I'm not overly juiced with how the linebackers play, and I love Coach Owens. He knows me, but they've had some injuries there. They've had some different things happen at that linebacker position, but just sometimes to me, it seems like guys are lost. And I'm not one to really comment on defensive play too much, because I kind of just try and stay in my lane for the most part. But there's some times where, uh, yeah, I'm just expecting more, I guess, is the best way to put it, politically correct and everything. I just would like to see that second level of the defense really step up because I think their back end's playing pretty well right now. They're all super young too, which is awesome. Obviously, the front four are playing great football no matter who's on the field out of that rotation. I think those are kind of the two keys to me that are either going to make or break this playoff run. Continue to rely on the run game. Don't rely on the stats. Rely on the run game, handing the football off, and getting downhill now, and then that increased level of play from the second level of the Cat defense, I think, is a huge piece to this puzzle.
In 1959, at Street's Grocery in Whitefish, Montana's special spice was born. Alpine Touch. It's the taste you grew up with, well seasoned through the test of time. As the tradition carries from one Montana generation to the next. From its humble beginnings to a trusted brand, here's to the next 60 years. Alpine Touch. Montana's special spice since 1959.
Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder too, like they've been fortunate enough and also been smart enough to rotate so much on defense, like the full platoon basically across the board. And I think that you keep that up at the defensive line because I think you have 8 guys that are really good. Like your second tier is better than most other teams' first tiers. So I think you keep doing that. But I think that like that second level, I think you got to settle in like JJ Dolan got hurt in the rivalry game, so I think that actually maybe helps you because now you can just say, okay, Taden Gray, you are the nickel. Like you are going to be the guy that's the nickel. Let's just roll with you right here. And then I think that they have to have somebody emerge because I think when they play the 3 inside, like when they play 3 guys with the 2 inside spots, I think that's when they're the best because you can kind of get into the flow. They've been playing 4-5 since Daly came back. I think you got to solidify like Cole Taylor and whoever else it's going to be. Is it Greeby? Is it Daly? Can you get away with 3? Great. I think you got to put those younger guys on the back burner and let those guys get into the flow of the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just from what I've seen, it seems to me like it's Daly and Taylor. That seems to be when the defense has the most success. I think Greeby has the highest upside out of the group. I don't know what's going on when I watch the game. I think he's got the potential to be a freak show, but his level of play just seems to be a little too inconsistent for me right now.
Yeah.
So I think right now that's the duo that I'd choose. Like I said, what that means, I have no idea, but
Yeah.
that's just who I would go with. Like I said, just based on the level of success on when each group is on the field.
Yeah. Well, and Daly's been coming back from an injury. I think he's full go now, so I think that's going to help him too. Anything else to add about this upcoming playoff? What do you think of Yale? Yale gave me no interviews this week. How lame! I wanted to talk to some Yale guys.
They're a bunch of nerds, man.
I
That's
know,
probably
right?
why.
I think they don't need to like promote their school because everybody knows where Yale's at or whatever. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
No, I didn't watch a ton of the game. I watched like the third quarter and then actually shut it off because of 42-14. Obviously, I saw the highlights of the game, and you got to give it to him, man. And it's funny because I used to play with a guy who went to Harvard. His name was Kyle Juszczyk. He's still playing for San Francisco, and he always talked about like the mentality of Ivy League schools. Because I actually went on a game day visit to Harvard one time, and I remember my dad really wanted me to go to an Ivy League school. And when I left the game day visit, I looked at my dad. I was like, "These people are not for me, man. Like this is not my scene. This is not what I do." And he was like, "No, dude, you don't understand. Like Ivy League football is like really, really tough brand of football, and you would have fit in really well." Because I was telling Kyle that story.
Right.
And he's like, "No, you would have fit in extremely well. It's a bunch of meatheads who love the game of football." He's like, "Football is really hard to do in an Ivy League school because you have an extreme class load and, all these different things." He's like, "Football is like their favorite part of the day."
Right.
He's like,
fun.
He's like,
Yeah.
so like you're like when you play Ivy League ball, like you got a bunch of dudes who love the game of ball, who are super gritty, super hardworking. They have insane work ethics. So I think a lot of people, probably in Bobcat Nation, are somewhat overlooking this game. But to me, I guarantee we're going to get Yale's best game. They're going to come out. They're going to, fight until that final whistle blows. As Youngstown, they proved in the Youngstown game. So I got a tough time thinking this is just going to be a walkover for the Cats. Um, and I don't think that's the mentality within the locker room. But I hope that we come out of this one. And really, to me, this is it's just a big momentum game. You're coming off of a bye week. You need to play a clean game. You need to get some things buttoned up, like we just said. Who's going to be this tandem that you're rolling at the linebacker position throughout the rest of the playoff run here. Um, and I just really like to see them. God, I mean, I'm just going to keep coming back to it. I just want to see them pound the rock, man. Like, they're a good football team. I really want to see them just punch this ball down the teeth of their defense, play in, play out. I mean, just like old school ball. You gain 3 yards on first down, get half the distance on second down, you get the first down on third down. I just do that over and over and over again and prepare for a deep November run, December run in the state of Montana, and get ready to go. Hopefully, you get a trip to Nashville out of this thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun because the best part about the playoffs now is like all the load management is in the rear view, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't have to save Julius Davis for anything. Like
No.
just give him 25 carries. Like cause he's done playing. He's at least playing college football. He's done playing as soon as they lose. So you just ride your horses, man. It's gonna be fun. So good to see you. Thanks for being here, and we'll touch base next week. But thanks for doing it this week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.